Yeah, it starts saying you're in it, and George McCready was like one of my favorite actors of that time.
Yeah, I love George.
Man never left the trenches. I just think he's so funny. He's
That's
so
right.
good in that movie.
He is funny. It's not meant to, I mean, I don't know if it's meant to be funny.
Right. But that's what Kubrick does is he gets these performances from people that are very big sometimes where I think
that would have been great. Guys. Yeah, I would have loved those guys.
I'm a big fan of George McCready, one of my favorite.
Which guy is he?
He was in Paths of Glory. And he's the guy with the scar in his face.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, your man never left the trenches.
yeah.
They've got skim milk in their veins and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. He's great, that guy.
Yeah, completely. I was a huge movie fan, but knew very early, I became very much focused on directors, not really actors. I was very taken with directors. Doctor Strangelove, which I'll admit the first time I saw it was totally over my head. I thought it was really funny, but my dad was laughing really hard and I didn't fully get it. Now it's one of my favorite movies.
Like Sterling Hayden, right? That's obviously meant to be funny, but it's still big. Yeah.
Yeah, or I read that George C. Scott did not get in Doctor Strangelove why he was making him do all this.
That's a better example. Yeah.
Remember when he falls at one point in the war room and he goes, "They're going to clobber us. Look at the big boy. They're getting ready to clobber us." It's like Looney Tunes, the way how big he plays things, but you could just tell Kubrick is just running on his instincts.
Fluids.
Oh my God, he's just like a guy from the Bronx who makes these, really insane experiences. 2001, that is a crazy experience watching that film. I've seen it now a couple of times in the theater.
Hello, Hal, do you read me? Hello, Hal, do you read me?
And to have that, it came out, it lost to Oliver, I think, the musical, and Planet of the Apes was that year. And it's just like a movie from another, I'm kind of speechless. I can't imagine what it was like for people in 1968 to see that movie.
Open the pod bay doors, Hal.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
Yeah, Kubrick's wife said the Blue Rinse Brigade didn't like the movie. But I was just like completely floored by it even now. You still haven't seen anything like that. And then you see him and he's this guy from the Bronx.
This conversation can serve no purpose anymore. Goodbye.
2001, talking to like truck drivers about 2000, like, oh man, I remember seeing that. That was wild, and like kind of like, where's the universe? Like, it's so unpretentious in a very uncomplicated way,
And what I realized, what I was reacting to in all these was a vision. They had just a very clear vision of what they wanted.
Hal? 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 Hal?
Did Kubrick films like Clockwork Orange, did that hit you hard when you were a kid?
Oh, huge.
Okay.
Yeah. Outside of just the cinematic aspects of it, every aspect of that movie, the photography, the acting, the costume design, the production design, the music, Jesus.
Yeah.
Everything is so specific to make it something so incredibly unique. And, Paul and I have talked about, I think we talked about with you, the acting in that's like kabuki theater. It's not real. And I think that kind of helps. Yeah, well, Clockwork Orange somehow weirdly gets away with some of it because it is almost the acting. It almost is like kabuki theater. Yeah. Like there's nothing realistic in those performances at all. It's so big.
Yeah.
Like even the warden guy, who's like,
hello, little Alex or something.
Yeah. Patrick. Patrick McGee. Yeah, where he's like, food, all right. Try the wine. All that stuff. Yeah, all that stuff. But it's so over the top. I mean, bananas. And Yeah, that's what's weird about that movie is like the tone is all over the place. To me, I always felt that film was he's narrating it, so it's from his point of view, and he has this very skewed point of view, an exaggerated point of view of humanity. And if you watch it, when things are going good for him, the music's high and everything, and the women in it,
Beethoven.
Yeah, and the women in it are all kind of gorgeous and voluptuous. And I understood the criticism of the male gaze of that movie, but I think it's totally, I think that's totally warranted. But the way I saw it was that, it is the male, it's his gaze. So I don't know if those women look like that in the reality.
Interesting.
In his reality.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
They all look like this. In his reality, that's the way his parents look. His mom has a weird fucking, in his reality, this is what it is.
And the women are highly sexualized, and
highly sexualized, and the members of his group are all idiots.
Yeah,
and the other groups are all kind of like ugly morons, but he's this kind of virile, and the woman at the who gives him the test, is a real shrew, and how everything is very caricature-y. It's like his little caricature book.
Yeah.
And
that's a helpful way to think of the film. I hadn't really thought that through.
Yeah, well, for me, that's how I always saw the film. Not always, repeated viewings of it, because what unlocked it for me was the moment when he's kicked out of his house, and it cuts to that scene.
The other guy lives in his house.
Oh yeah, that's Joe. That's Joe.
Go ahead.
He lives here now. He's taken your room, but but there's a moment where Malcolm McDowell is feeling, he has a little parcel and he's sad and he's been kicked out of the house, and it's the scene where the bum that they beat up notices him, and the music's very sad. It's like it's almost overly,
melodrama.
It is actually, like when melodrama, when people do, like when you feel sorry for someone, you pretend to do like a violin. It's literally that music.
Right, heavy vibrato on the strings.
Yeah. And he's just like, it's like all is lost for poor little me. And then he gets the shit kicked out of him, and then it just keeps getting worse and worse. My dad would introduce me to shit, but he wasn't like,
Kentucky Fried Movie.
Yeah, it's like this. I remember him showing me Clockwork Orange, and I was like, I should not have seen it, probably. You guys wrote a great pice about Clockwork Orange.
Yeah, we just did.
Yeah, I love
last
that.
week.
I thought that was a great piece. But I, for some reason, got it, I was like, oh, I understand that, and it wasn't, I was like, oh, that's kind of I don't know if that was the intention of the filmmaker or whatever, but it hit me on a certain level, an emotional level, that I got, and I'd never seen a movie that looked like that, sounded like that. Every element of it was something I'd never seen. The way it was shot, edited, the use of music, the costumes, the production design, everything. It was funny. The Ringer just did a article that was pretty good about the Clockwork Orange on Netflix, and like, will people be able to understand that it's a piece of art and understand what it's trying to say and not just react to it. And it was interesting. It was an interesting article, but that is definitely one of the movies I like that I say I like, that I'm constantly defending why I like it. Clockwork Orange. Yeah, people get really angry when they talk to you about that movie. And some of them, most of it, I just go, all right, that's your thing. I'm not going to tell you if you're right or wrong. I'm going to say, here's how it affected me.
Right.
Why I was moved by it, but, I get it. But I feel like Clockwork Orange is the misogyny in it is kind of like born within like how bad the guy is and how bad the society is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that if you take that ability away from somebody, they're not human anymore.
Yeah.
And so that it's this really, like, we all have this ability to be an Alex. We just choose not to, But it's so hard to explain that to someone after they watch the first 30 minutes of the movie. And they're like, why would I want to watch these guys gang rape a woman? And I go, no, I don't like watching that stuff. But as a story, it's not fun, but not all movies have to be fun. What I loved about that film, or what I thought was amazing about it, was that the theme of the movie, I my reaction to it is the kind of the theme of the movie, where I was watching this guy do all these despicable things, and then he gets caught, and then he gets out, and all the people he perpetrated it on, they are now perpetrating it upon him. And karma, and I found it really satisfying.
Yeah.
So I'm finding it really satisfying seeing him get the shit kicked out of him. And that's kind of what the movie's about. Yeah.
But then the last act is like hard for you to take because there's a reversion, right? To the, you know.
But where it's like he gets beat up and everything. And I'm like, this is kind of what the movie's about. Without violence, we are not human. Without this anger I'm having right now, I am not a human being.
Yes. That's very
You know what I
interesting.
mean?
Yeah. Yeah. You're totally enjoying the revenge. Yeah. No, it's true.
I'm enjoying the revenge, and that heat or this anger or whatever towards this guy, this asshole, I'm now like, oh, this is kind of what the movie's about, which is like, if I don't have that was taken away from me, I would cease to be human. So it's like, it's kind of enacting into it, and then so by the end of the film, you know, he reverses it and he's, you know, cured. And the last bit of it is kind of like just the most like hardcore social satire it is, where you literally have the government feeding him and all these things. And it's very funny and everything. But, you know, I think that for me, that's the power of that movie from my experience. Well, it's satisfying.
Yeah, it is.
Well, that's why I watched Dateline, because at the end of Dateline, the guy gets caught. There's justice because it tells you it is a fair world. It is a fair, just world.
That's right.
I want to feel that. And if I don't feel that, then I can't, you know, get up out of bed in the morning, or, you know, but you can only experience it in art, in the imagination, because reality doesn't give it to you. Right. So, there's that thing where I'm watching Alex, you know, in Clockwork Orange, get beat up when his two friends, his cohorts are now cops, and they're beating him with that pipe, and they're holding him underwater. And it's really tough, but there's a part of me that's like, well, you know, I watched this guy, you know, rape a woman in front of her husband, and he did all this horrible shit.
Yeah,
like,
he's scumbag.
He's scumbag. I'm kind of loving this. But then I'm like, well, wait a minute. wait.
Why am I loving this so much?
Why am I loving this? Wait, that's not good.
It's true, though.
Yeah. What does it say about me? You know, like, what is it about seeing the other side that lose that's so satisfying, you know? Believe me, I've seen that movie with other people, and they go, can we please turn this off? Or this is not for me. Or I'll recommend it. I recommended it to my friend and his wife, and the next time I saw them, they're like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
That?
We turned it off. That was awful. And I was like, but don't you? I was like, why do you always like this dark stuff? Why can't you watch Father the Bride or something? Why is it always got to be such dark shit, you know? Clockwork Orange was a massive one for me, and it was really polarizing. It's still like a very polarizing movie, you know? I talked to people, and and I think they have good points about it too, you know? I have a friend that says, you know, I don't like that these guys are, you know, she grew up with those posters of droogs, and the droogs are like a pop culture thing, and she's like, you know, they're rapists.
Yeah, exactly.
And so it's kind of I didn't like going into dorm rooms, and there's these, like, you know, or guys would dress up like it for Halloween, and that's just like, I found that really disturbing, and that's a fair point.
I love the film Clockwork Orange. That was a movie that was very formidable for me. I understand that movie is not easy to watch, but I can have a conversation of why that movie struck me so much, and my views of, like, you know, violence, and, you know, and the human condition, and all these things, whatever. And I did have a conversation that was the only really time where it was the opposite of what you're describing, because usually it's what you're describing where I go, I don't know what you want out of it. But I had a friend say, but what bothers me about that film was that it became pop culture, and that people would dress up like droogs. And I remember seeing the Blur video, and they're dressed up like droogs, and all these other things. Bart Simpson was dressed up like a droog, and, you know, like, they're monsters. And I went, you know what? That's a very good point. You're right. That is a very good point. I mean, that I could understand if you go and watch that film and you go, I hate that when you go into, people have posters of Alex on their wall and shit. And it's like, that shouldn't be, and I said, I can understand why you wouldn't like that film based on that. But I think that bit is out. That's the unfortunate byproduct of the thing, but I said, I hear you. I think that movie is very important, but that is a very true thing. That is unfortunate.
Yeah. That was the thing with those Kubrick movies, is this rare thing where you could be flipping through the channels and flip past a Kubrick movie and you go, oh, that was a Kubrick movie. Go back. You know what I mean? Because just blown out windows, the lighting, the way he frames it, the costumes, everything kind of comes together to make a specific thing that is wholly him.
But yeah, that I was really interested in, and in a very uncomplicated way, I mean, my dad, for a while, drove trucks, and I remember talking to them, not about necessarily art house movies, but, like they saw Barry Lyndon, and they went, I liked it, man, that guy, fucked up his life, and you're like, and I appreciated that, and I feel like that kind of stuck with me, This is one of the best discs I think Criterion ever put out, the Barry Lyndon one. It's like a film school. My favorite someone is Douglas Milsom talking about how the grid he had to put, because he was assistant cameraman on that, to keep focus in those scenes that were lit only by candles. Love this film.
Kubrick had died, and they came out with that DVD set with the making of The Shining, which you could not find anywhere. And we watched, I think, 3 times in a row because we could not believe there was Stanley Kubrick. And the first time you see him, you're just following Jack Nicholson through the Overlook set. And then it arrives at this big burly guy in a coat who's balding with the big glasses and a giant beard. And that's Kubrick. And up until that moment, I thought he was British. He starts talking like this, and he's like, all right, Shelley, what we'd have to do here is we have to get you over to the...
Shelley, I'm telling you, it's too many times. Every time he speaks emphatically, you're jumping, and it looks funny.
There's one point where he's like, I think they should play in a wide shot considering the situation. And I was like, wow. This is crazy. He's from the Bronx. I went, oh my God, he's just like a guy from the Bronx who makes these really insane experiences. I remember there's that story. I think Steven Spielberg asked Kubrick, have you heard this? Kubrick asked Steven Spielberg, did you like The Shining? And at the time, Spielberg said, not really. And he said, why? And he's like, I just thought Jack Nicholson was really big. And Kubrick said, okay, name your 5 favorite actors. And Steven Spielberg, I think, said Jimmy Stewart, Spencer Tracy, Henry Fonda, Clark Gable, Robert Montgomery or something.
Right.
And he went, okay, stop. In that list, you did not mention James Cagney. James Cagney is my all-time favorite actor, and that's why Jack Nicholson is great in The Shining.
That's a great story.
I thought that was a great story that he shared, because you go, oh, he likes that. He wants someone who pops.
I love some of Stanley Kubrick's movies, but I remember being I'm still a film geek, but in my 20s, this really romanticized version of these directors, and you would hear Stanley Kubrick did 150 takes of Shelley Duvall and Jack Nicholson on the stairs.
Yep.
And The Shining, I'm going to bash your brains in that scene, because he wanted to get Shelley Duvall to this real sense of hysteria and all this. And, we thought that was so cool, and that was being an artist and why it was so great. And then you start doing this as a job. And I've now, I've been in horror movies, I've been in dramas, comedies, everything. And I've seen people do, and I've seen Shelley Duvall in other movies do just that, and I bet it was 5 takes. It's called acting.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's not Kubrick. That's his ego. That's his. Yeah. I need that process. That's all about ego and stuff. And I just, when people, it's bad when people you start hearing about their process and you know more about the process or remember the process more than the work. You know what I mean? And so in acting, directing, writing, you always hear that stuff. So it is funny. I just don't understand as I get older and as you start doing it, you know, you'll see a great actor do something very similar like that. And Shelley Duvall, those Robert Altman movies, I mean, Three Women, I mean, great actor. Yeah. And so I never really, to me, that was more like, again, it's like ego. But that said, I mean, I watched The Shining with my oldest daughter not too long ago, and I still enjoyed it. But I was like, I just don't want to be on that set.
Most underrated movie.
It's the hard. You know what it is for me? A movie that people hate that I really liked was Eyes Wide Shut.
It's just relax, Alice. This pot is making you aggressive.
I dug that movie. I thought that was a really cool movie. And as I get older, the idea of what it says about the difference, like men and women, like I just love is like Nicole Kidman has a fantasy, and then Tom Cruise decides that he has to go sleep with someone else. He's so jealous that he has to go sleep with someone else. And then it's like Tom Cruise can't get laid. It's it just makes me laugh. Like, I just find it weirdly funny. Like when he goes to that orgy and then he almost gets killed.
Well, I suppose you'd like the password.
It's like, what is happening? This is so great. And then that was one where I went, how about that, guys? And everybody was like, that was the most pretentious piece of shit. And I was like, no, it was great, you know?
What do you recommend?
Well, there's movies that I've walked out of, like, after the movie's ended, and I go, man, that was great. And everyone else is like, what? That was terrible. You know that feeling when you're the outlier?
Yeah, I've had that a lot.
And Eyes Wide Shut was that for me. I walked out and went, that was great. And everybody went, that was the most pretentious piece of shit I've ever. Really? I thought I thought it was kind of funny. I had like interesting things about relationships and.
Fuck.